Welcome to another episode of Thailand Truth Talks. What I'm about to share with you will completely change how you see Thailand. I've been coming to Thailand for over a decade and now living here for about a year and more. And today I'm taking you on a motorcycle journey through Bangkok to Kanchanaburi. This isn't another travel vlog. This is the uncensored truth about what really it's like being a foreign resident in the land of smiles. You're watching me ride through the Thai countryside right now. But what you can't see are the invisible barriers, the systematic discrimination, and the dangerous traps that await every single foreigner who dares to explore this country. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Thailand has one of the world's most deadly road systems, how the government legally discriminates against foreigners, and the corruption that's eating this country alive from the inside. Let's start with something that nearly killed me on this very trip. Thailand's roads are literally death traps. The World Health Organization doesn't sugarcoat it. Thailand has 25.4 road deaths per 100,000 people. That's double the rate of the United States and 10 times worse than most European countries. 10 times. Let that sink in for a moment. In 2022 alone, Thailand saw nearly 1 million traffic accidents. 1 million. That resulted in almost 15,000 deaths. To put this in perspective, that's like a major airline crash happening every single day of the year, except it's happening on the roads you're driving on right now. But here's what really shocked me. Motorcycles account for more than half of all crashes. More than half. And as you can see in this footage, motorcycles are everywhere in Thailand. They're the primary mode of transport for millions of people, both locals and foreigners. Yet the government does absolutely nothing to address this crisis. Want to know something even more disturbing? Of those deaths in 2022, 536 were foreigners. That's over 500 foreign visitors and expats who come to Thailand and never made it home. Their families probably never got the full truth about what happened. Another 7,885 foreigners were injured. These aren't just statistics. These are real people whose lives were destroyed by Thailand's negligent approach to road safety. And this is the part that should make every foreigner stop and think. When foreigners die on Thai roads, the headlines are often sanitized or buried altogether. You'll see local coverage of a minor accident, when in reality it was a horrific crash that left a family shattered. Social media fills in the gaps with graphic footage that never makes it to official reports. And that gap between the truth and what the authorities admit tells you everything about how seriously they take foreign lives. The route I'm taking you on today, from Bangkok to Kanchanaburi, is particularly dangerous. Highway 324 and 323 are two-lane death strips passing through rural areas where trucks and farms vehicles share the road with speeding cars and vulnerable motorcycles. There are winding stretches and steep bridges that have claimed countless lives, especially the areas near Songkhlaburi, where fatal crashes happen with terrifying frequency. But here's the thing that really makes my blood boil. This isn't an accident. This is systematic negligence. The government knows these roads are killers, but they do nothing because the victims are often poor locals and expendable foreigners. Road fatalities cost Thailand an estimated 7% of their GDP. 7%. But they'd rather maintain the status quo than actually fix the problem. Now, let me tell you about something that happened to my friend last week, and it perfectly illustrates the corruption that's rotting Thailand from the core. He was riding through Pattaya when he got pulled over by traffic police, not for speeding, not for running a red light, but simply for being foreign. Here's how the scam works. Thai police specifically target foreigners because they know we'll pay bribes to avoid trouble. They call it tea money. Isn't that cute? But it's nothing more than legalized extortion. The going rate is at anywhere from 300 to 1,000 baht for minor violations, whether you actually committed them or not. But here's where it gets really sinister. In tourist areas like Pattaya, police will stop foreign riders while waving Thai locals right through. Expats have told me directly. Police stop only Farangs. They say Thais have no money. This isn't my opinion. This is documented facts. Helmet fines can be 2,000 baht for foreigners while local kids get warnings. The worst part? Many foreigners just pay up because they're scared of what might happen if they don't. They don't realize that by paying these bribes, they're actually breaking Thai law and could be arrested for attempted bribery. It's a perfect trap. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I've learned the hard way that you have to call their bluff. When a cop asks for tea money, you politely ask to see their ID and insist on going through official channels. Most of the time, they'll back down because they don't want the paperwork. But the fact that this is necessary shows you how broken the system really is. The tourist police exist. You can call 1155, but they're overwhelmed and often can't help in real-time situations. Meanwhile, regular police wages are so low that corruption is built into the system. It's not a few bad apples. It's institutional rot from top to bottom. The worst part is that the corruption isn't just limited to the police. It seeps into every part of life here, from immigration officers who lose paperwork unless you grease their palms, to local officials who suddenly find a zoning violation on your property unless you pay them off. For foreigners, it means you're never truly secure. One day you're legal, the next day you're a walking ATM for anyone in a uniform. Let me tell you about another scam that nearly cost me thousands of baht. Motorcycle rental shops in Thailand have turned ripping off foreigners into an art form. Here's how they do it. They demand massive deposits, sometimes 15,000 baht, where they insist on holding your passport as collateral. Never, and I mean never, give your actual passport to a rental shop. What they do is wait until you return the bike. Then they'll point to some microscopic scratch and claim you owe them thousands in damages. Since they have your passport, you're trapped. You either pay their inflated repair cost or you miss your flight home. I always document every single scratch, dent, and scuff on a rental bike before I take it. I take photos, I take videos. I make the shop owner acknowledge existing damage in writing. Even then, they'll try to scam you. One shop tried to charge me 5,000 baht for a scratch that was clearly already there when I rented the bike. The really sick part is that these shops specifically target foreigners because they know we're unfamiliar with Thai law and we're desperate to avoid trouble. They prey on our ignorance and our fear. It's predatory behavior that the government not only allows but seems to encourage. But nothing prepared me for the systematic discrimination I discovered during this trip to Kanchanaburi. Thailand operates an official two-tier pricing system that charges foreigners 4 to 5 times more than locals for the same services. This isn't hidden. It's a government policy. My colleague took the train from Bangkok to Kanchanaburi, and he paid 100 baht for the exact same journey that cost Thai passengers only 25 baht. 4 times more for sitting in the same seat, on the same train, breathing the same air. At Erawan National Park, foreigners pay 300 baht while Thai adults pay 60 baht. That's a 500% markup based solely on the color of your passport. This isn't just about money, though it adds up fast. A foreign family can pay thousands more than a Thai family for the same vacation. It's about the message this sends. Foreigners are cash cows to be milked, not welcome guests to be respected. The hypocrisy is staggering when you consider that many of us foreign residents pay Thai taxes, contribute to the economy, and have been living here for years or even decades. Yet we're treated like second-class citizens every time we want to visit a national park or a cultural site. I've seen the impact of this discrimination firsthand. Foreign residents are getting fed up and choosing other destinations. Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia don't have these massive price caps. Social media is filled with angry reviews and warnings about Thailand's discriminatory prices. Thailand's problems don't exist in a vacuum, and once you compare the facts regionally, it gets ugly fast. Thailand's road death rate sits about 25.4 deaths per 100,000 people, a figure that makes riding here far riskier than in nearby countries. In Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia, the rates are noticeably lower, and the difference isn't just numbers on a chart. It's the difference between walking away from a trip and never seeing your family again. For viewers, that stat is a punch in the gut. Thailand is not just a little dangerous, it's among the worst in the region. And anyone planning to ride a scooter here should know that up front. The next red flag is corruption. The everyday, petty extortion that steals your time and money. Transparency indexes show Thailand lagging behind Malaysia and even some neighbors. And that shows up in real life. More frequent police stops, money demands, and QR code fines that disappear into private pockets. Where other countries' officials might hand out a warning or a ticket, Thai tourists often face an extra payment just for being foreign. That's not culture. It's a business model built on tourist ignorance. This dual pricing scandal, paying 4 to 5 times more than the exact same temple, train seat, or waterfall price tag, isn't just insulting. It's bad for business. Countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia don't run systematic foreigner taxes at a national site, and that difference matters. When tourists can pay fair prices elsewhere, they start to share these experiences, and social feeds amplify the anger. That's why travel patterns are shifting. Fairer neighbors are quietly stealing market share while Thailand loses goodwill. The proof is in the market. Tourist flows and expat sentiment are responding to these realities. People vote with their wallets. Travelers are increasingly choosing destinations where streets feel safer and officials feel less like predators. Expats who once recommended Thailand now warn friends to consider alternatives. That's a viral angle you can lean on. It's not clickbait or to say, think twice before you ride. It's consumer behavior driven by hard data and thousands of social posts. So what should you do? Share this video with anyone who's about to buy a plane ticket. Tag a friend who's planning to rent a scooter. Use the comments to list your worst Thailand scam. The numbers show this isn't isolated bad luck. It's a pattern. If enough of us stop accepting it, Thailand's tourism industry will have to change or lose the customers it claims to care about. That's not just a message. That's a movement. The government finally acknowledged the problem with international backlash. There was even a Guardian op-ed calling Thailand the worst country for discrimination against foreigners. They've promised to end dual pricing, but as of my last visit to Kanchanaburi, nothing had changed. It's all talk, no action. Here's something that's really freak you out. You can't even trust people wearing police uniforms in Thailand. Fake police officers are a real and growing problem. These scammers dress up as cops or immigration officers and extort money from tourists and expats. I've heard horror stories of fake immigration police raiding apartments and bars, demanding to see visas and then demanding payment to avoid arrest. They target foreigners because we're less likely to know what real Thai police procedures look like. The scary part is that even if you encounter real police, their behavior is often so unprofessional that you think they're fake anyway. I've been asked to pay fines through mobile payment QR codes that probably went straight into the officer's personal account rather than government coffers. This is what happens when corruption becomes so normalized that it's impossible to tell the difference between legitimate law enforcement and organized crime. The line between official extortion and criminal extortion has completely disappeared. Let me break down the real financial cost of being foreign in Thailand, because the travel blogs never tell you this part. Beyond the official dual pricing, there's an invisible tax on being foreign that touches every aspect of life here. You'll pay more for housing because landlords know foreigners are desperate and have limited legal recourse. You'll pay more for services because everyone assumes foreigners are rich. You'll pay more for food in tourist areas. You'll pay more for transportation. You'll pay more for everything. The motorcycle insurance situation is particularly insane. In Thailand, insurance follows the vehicle, not the driver. So, if you're in an accident or on a rental bike, you're depending on whatever coverage the rental shop may or may not have. Many shops have minimal coverage or none at all, leaving you completely exposed. I've met expats who've been financially destroyed by a single accident. One British retiree I know was hit by an uninsured Thai driver and ended up paying tens of thousands of baht in medical bills out of his own pocket. The Thai driver faced no consequences. This is the reality of living in a country where the rule of law doesn't apply equally to everyone, where your rights depend on your nationality and your ability to pay bribes, where the government sees you as a source of revenue, not a person deserving of protection. One of the most insidious aspects of Thailand's treatment of foreigners is how it packages discrimination as cultural preservation. They'll tell you that dual pricing helps preserve Thai culture by keeping sacred sites accessible to locals. What they don't mention is that plenty of other countries preserve their heritage without systematically overcharging foreign visitors. They'll tell you that foreigners should be grateful to be allowed in Thailand at all, that we should accept second-class treatment because we're guests in their country. This is gaslighting, pure and simple. It's designed to make you feel like discrimination is your fault for being foreign. The Land of Smiles marketing is particularly cynical when you understand the reality. Yes, Thai people are often polite and friendly on the surface, but that smile can disappear quickly when money is involved, when accidents happen, or when their authority is questioned. I've lived here long enough to see both sides. There are genuinely wonderful Thai people who treat foreigners with respect and fairness. But the systems and institutions are rigged against us, and many locals either participate or turn a blind eye to the exploitation. Let me tell you what happens when things go really wrong in Thailand. When you're involved in a serious accident, the combination of language barriers, legal complexities, and systematic bias against foreigners can destroy your life. First, Thai emergency services are not equipped to handle foreign victims. Medical staff often don't speak English. Insurance claims are processed in Thai. And legal procedures assume you understand a system that even many Thais find confusing. If you're at fault in an accident, you'll quickly discover that Thai justice is far from blind. Foreign drivers are often held to different standards and face harsher penalties than locals. If you're the victim, good luck getting fair compensation from a system that views you as an outsider. I know an American expat who was seriously injured by a drunk Thai driver. Not only did the Thai driver face minimal punishment, but my friend had to fight for months to get basic medical expenses covered. Meanwhile, he was unable to work and burned through his savings paying for treatment that should have been covered by insurance. This is what happens when you live in a country that sees you as a temporary visitor, even if you've been here for decades. You have responsibilities but limited rights. You pay taxes but receive fewer services. You follow the laws but aren't equally protected by them. So why do we stay? Why do expats and long-term visitors continue to live in a country that systematically discriminates against them? This is the question that haunts me, especially during trips like this one to Kanchanaburi. Part of it is the sunk cost fallacy. Many of us have invested years of our lives and significant money in building a life here. Starting over somewhere else feels overwhelming, especially as we get older. We tell ourselves things will get better, that the discrimination will end, that we're just going through a rough patch. Part of it is genuine love for the country and its people. Despite everything I've shared with you today, Thailand has incredible natural beauty, rich culture, and many wonderful people. The problem isn't Thailand itself. It's the systems and institutions that exploit foreigners. But I think the biggest factor is denial. Many expats simply refuse to acknowledge how bad things have gotten. They've invested so much in the idea of Thailand as paradise that admitting the truth feels like admitting failure. So they make excuses, blame individual bad actors instead of systematic problems, and convince themselves that their experience is somehow different. I used to be one of those people. I used to rationalize the discrimination, excuse the corruption, and focus on the positives. But trips like this one force you to confront reality. Every overpriced admission ticket, every police shakedown, every scam attempt is a reminder that you're not welcome here as an equal. The Thai government loves to talk about welcoming foreign investment and tourism. They roll out red carpets for wealthy foreigners and promise reforms that never materialize. They announce crackdowns on corruption that change nothing. They pledge to end discriminatory pricing while continuing to collect the profits. The recent promise to eliminate dual pricing is a perfect example. Tourism Minister Sarawang Tiantong announced fair pricing for both Thai and foreign tourists, with great fanfare. But when I visited Erawan Falls during this trip, I still paid the foreign price. When my colleague took the train to Kanchanaburi, he still paid 4 times what a Thai passenger paid. These aren't oversights or implementation delays. These are deliberate deceptions designed to calm international criticism while maintaining the profitable status quo. The government has no intention of actually treating foreigners fairly. They just want to manage the bad publicity. This is what dealing with Thai authorities is like at every level. Lots of promises, lots of ceremonies, lots of photo opportunities, but no real change. Meanwhile, foreigners continue to die on dangerous roads, pay discriminatory prices, and face systematic exploitation. Here's something the tourism industry doesn't want you to know. The mistreatment of foreigners is so bad that it's actually hurting Thailand's competitiveness. Other Southeast Asian countries are capitalizing on Thailand's reputation for discrimination and corruption. Vietnam has become increasingly popular with digital nomads and retirees, specifically because they don't have Thailand's systematic discrimination. Malaysia's MM2H program treats foreign residents with respect. Indonesia doesn't charge foreigners multiples of local prices just for existing. Tour operators quietly admit that Thailand is losing market share to countries that treat visitors fairly. Hotel occupancy rates in some areas have declined as word spreads about discriminatory practices. Even Thai tourism businesses are starting to complain that government policies are driving away customers. But instead of addressing the root causes, the government doubles down on marketing and public relations. They spend millions promoting Thailand as amazing while ignoring the experiences of actual visitors and residents. It's classic short-term thinking that prioritizes face saving over problem solving. The corruption I've described isn't just annoying, it's literally killing people and destroying lives. When police focus on extracting bribes instead of enforcing traffic laws, more people die in accidents. When government officials are more interested in dual pricing revenue than safety, infrastructure crumbles and services deteriorate. The motorcycle journey you're watching right now took me through areas where corruption has real, visible consequences. Roads that should have been repaired years ago are full of potholes because maintenance budgets disappeared into official pockets. Traffic signs that could prevent accidents are missing because someone skimmed money from the installation project. Emergency services are underfunded and understaffed because public money gets diverted to private accounts. Hospitals lack equipment, police lack training, fire departments lack vehicles, all so that officials can maintain their corrupt lifestyles while citizens and foreigners suffer the consequences. This isn't just about money, though the financial cost is enormous. It's about a system that has lost any sense of public purpose or moral accountability, where self-enrichment trumps public safety every single time. What the travel vlogs never mention is the psychological impact of living under systematic discrimination. It wears you down in ways you don't expect. Every interaction becomes a potential confrontation. Every official encounter becomes a source of anxiety. You start to internalize the discrimination. You catch yourself making excuses for unfair treatment. You begin to believe that maybe you don't deserve equal treatment because you're foreign. You adjust your expectations downward until accepting exploitation feels normal. I've seen this happen to long-term expats who've been here for decades. They develop a kind of Stockholm syndrome where they defend the very system that oppresses them. They'll tell newer arrivals to just accept dual pricing, to always carry bribe money, to never challenge authority. This is what institutional discrimination does to people. It doesn't just extract money. It breaks down your sense of self-worth and your expectation of fair treatment. It turns you into a collaborator in your own exploitation. And the mental health toll is very real. Expats talk about Thailand fatigue, that slow grind of dealing with scams, bribes, and discrimination until it starts eating away at your happiness. People who came here chasing paradise end up depressed, bitter, and disillusioned. That's a story you won't see on glossy travel vlogs, but if you spend enough time in expat circles, you'll hear it whispered again and again. So where does this leave us? How do we reconcile our love for Thailand with the reality of systematic discrimination and corruption? How do we continue living here while maintaining our dignity and self-respect? The first step is acknowledging the truth instead of living in denial. Thailand has serious problems that affect foreigners disproportionately. These aren't isolated incidents or misunderstandings. There are systematic issues that require systematic solutions. The second step is refusing to participate in our own exploitation. That means not paying bribes, not accepting discriminatory pricing without complaint, and not making excuses for unfair treatment. It means demanding the same standards we would expect in our home countries. The third step is solidarity among the foreign community. Instead of competing with each other or throwing newer arrivals under the bus, we need to support each other and share information about scams, discrimination, and unfair practices. The fourth step is using our economic power. If enough foreigners refuse to accept discriminatory treatment, businesses and government agencies will be forced to change. Money talks in Thailand, often louder than morality or fairness. And here's where you come in. Viral stories, angry TripAdvisor reviews, YouTube exposés. They're forcing a conversation that the government can't control with PR campaigns anymore. The more we talk, the more we share. The harder it gets for officials to dismiss our experiences as isolated cases. That's why speaking up matters. Silence is what keeps the system alive, but exposure is what forces it to change. As we wrap up this journey to Kanchanaburi, I want to leave you with this thought. You have a choice. You continue accepting Thailand's two-tier system, paying the foreigner tax, and hoping things will magically improve. Or you can demand better treatment and vote with your money. Thailand needs foreign visitors and residents more than they want to admit. The tourism industry employs millions of people. Foreign retirees and expats contribute billions to the economy, almost 20% of the entire Thai economy. We have more power than we realize, but only if we're willing to use it. The question is whether we'll continue enabling a system that exploits us, or whether we'll finally demand the respect and fair treatment we deserve. The choice is yours. And remember, accepting discrimination doesn't make you humble or culturally sensitive. It makes you complicit in your own mistreatment. This has been Thailand Truth Talks, bringing you the uncensored reality of life in the land of smiles. If this video opened your eyes to what's really happening here, share it with other foreigners who need to know the truth. Subscribe for more honest reporting about the expat experience in Thailand. And remember, the truth isn't always comfortable, but it's always necessary. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and never stop demanding better.